All right, y'all. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. It's live. We're back in the building. Definitely glad that you guys are listening to us on TuneIn, on Loud City, MixLR, and LegacyInternetRadio.com. We got a lot to get into tonight. We got a controversy with the name change of a nationally known National Football League team. We got a death of a child of an NFL player. We want to talk about the work stoppage in the federal government. We got a couple of prominent GOP members that are leading protests at the White House, and what the hell is going on with Dr. Ben Carson. And we got a special guest in the building that we're definitely glad to see. We'll introduce as we introduce the show. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. is right now. Yeah.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
then you must be half stepping.
ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. is back, y'all. We live in the studio from the den. LegacyInternetRadio.com, the flagship show. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J. Definitely glad to have you here. Be down with us tonight at 804-402-2893 to be down with the flagship show of LegacyInternetRadio.com. Definitely glad to have you here in the building with us as we get into a whole bunch of stuff. I kind of teased it in the top of the show with the Redskins name change, Adrian Peterson with the death of his child. We got a couple of people that we're going to get into in the ending segment, the What the Hell segment, in the second half of the show that are leading protests at the White House. And we got K-Dub that's going to join us in the second half of the show as we talk about a whole bunch of things. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Definitely glad to have you here in the building. We got you on MixLR. We got you on TuneIn, carrying us in your pocket. We got Loud City, which is new to us. We're growing every single week, and we picked up Loud City. So if you someone with an Android and you want to carry Loud City on the Android, it's not Android, I'm sorry, the Apple iPhone app, you can check out us on Loud City there, or you can actually pull up your cell phone and go to our Loud City page, and it will actually work on the browser. Unfortunately, like seeing that radio page won't work that way, but the Loud City website will work directly from the browser on your phone. So there's no reason for you not to be able to be down with us on LegacyInternetRadio.com, as well as the flagship show, Ain't No Half Stepping, Marcus J. right here live in the dance. So as I do every single week, I always like to bring in the crew and get some love, some salutations to everybody, and I'm definitely happy to have this brother in the building with me. I have never, ever actually sat in the chair of LegacyInternetRadio.com, Ain't No Half Stepping, Marcus J. with this brother in the building, but I got to do it here tonight. I got Mr. Sincere of Enliven Radio with us in the building. What's going on, my brother?
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Well, it's good to see you, man. I know that you and Steven Sykes, Mr. LP, run your show every single Tuesday. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
All right, the show is on every Tuesday from 7 to 9. You can catch us on TuneIn, Loud City, and our MixLR page, and of course at LegacyInternetRadio.com.
You got it. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J is also pleased to introduce, joining the crew. Hasn't been here in a little while. It's always good to see my brother JR in the building. What's up, man?
Ain't nothing, man. What's going on with you?
Doing fabulous. It's good to see you. It's glad to have you back in the building. You ready for a good show, man?
I'm ready.
And you heard her at the top of the show, sitting in for my man Big Rube, who we will not have with us tonight, but she did better than he do, as she helped me do the setup of the show. we got my girl, my sister, S.Y. Butler in the building. What's up, boo?
Hey, babe.
How y'all doing?
You make me blush.
Well, you know, if I can get that chocolate face to blush, boy, I'm doing some good stuff, JR. You know what I'm saying, man?
You know, I'm so happy right about now.
Oh, let's hear it. What you so happy about, girl?
One.
Because you in the room with 3 fine men?
Okay.
The brothers?
Don't kill it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I messed
So
it
now
up.
I'm going to make that second.
I messed it up.
One, you know, my team finally won a game.
Yeah.
You know, but it was enough to make me jump up and down. And I am stuck here happily. I got 3 fine guys with me.
I knew she was going to say it.
Ladies, be envious.
Especially me. Sorry. Anyway.
How did we know he was going to plug it?
Yeah, of course, man.
I'm so happy you're here. Wow, look at that.
Now, you know, I had to trudge out from, you know, paperwork for a few minutes.
So you're going
man.
to come down again?
Yeah, I definitely will be.
We definitely
And
glad to
I
have
get
her.
tired of waiting for you to show up.
Tired of waiting for me
Yes.
to show up.
I mean, really, you need to make it like at least twice a month.
At least twice.
At least.
Well, I will be back next week as well.
That's
Okay,
right.
yay.
We got his arm all twisted. We're going to see him next week.
Got me in a cross-faced chicken wing, old Bob Backlund style.
Oh,
My
dear.
God, it was just tough.
Oh, dear.
Watch
Somebody
WWE.
count.
That's what it is. Definitely glad to. I'm glad the whole crew is here. It's good to see you guys across the table. JR, she said it's always good when you're here, so I'm glad to have you. We spent some time together about a little over a week ago. You and I and Mama J. You want to tell
Yes,
her
we did.
Ain't No Hashtag Marcus J listeners what we were doing?
We was in a hot gym getting that black belt.
That's what it is. So congratulations,
It's
man.
official.
It's an achievement I know you've been looking forward to for a long time.
All
Yes, I have.
right.
Yes, I have. 6 years old.
Give it up.
6
All
years old, man. You
right.
know, you. It was something that I started out doing. My uncle actually got my brother and I involved in that, and you know, it was really more so for my brother at the time. You know, back then I was about 5 years old. I wasn't able to start. Nowadays they got tigers. You can start at 4 years old. Back then you had to be 6, so I had to wait. And you know, eventually when he went off to play football, he had his black belt. I didn't have mine, but I wanted to do what Big Bro do, so I went and played football 2 years later. Come back, I wanted to do it. I wanted to finish it, so got the black belt. So ready to take it to the next.
So the
Congrats.
resident legacy internet radio hitman is the bodyguard for the whole crew, no doubt.
I'm gonna be like, JR, I need to go to the store.
No doubt. I'm gonna take JR and I'm gonna take Mama J, the 2 of them, back to my neighborhood in Jersey City. I got some people I need y'all to beat up for me.
That's word.
That's what it is.
Congratulations to her too.
No doubt.
Yes,
They got
sir.
it together.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
one thing I'll say about this brother before we move on, when I met this brother, I met him, I've known him in a couple of different places, which is odd because we got a lot of friends in common. But when I met him in the karate class with my daughter, he always made a point of taking care of her, helping her out. She likes him. She looks up to him. So I want to publicly thank him for that, congratulate him for that, because they were able to get their black belts together.
Very
Right, that's
good.
important. That's good stuff.
No
Excellent.
doubt, no doubt. So, all right, let's move on. Ain't no half stepping, Marcus J. We definitely are going to get into a whole lot of stuff tonight. And the first thing we're going to get into, what we like to talk about in our What's Happening segment. I always play What's Happening in the background. Y'all can hear it playing a little bit. Y'all think I'm a little bit crazy. A little rerun playing. But anyway, the Redskins, we talked about that. Not so much the game. You know, we know that they played against the Dallas Cowboys last night, and unfortunately the game didn't work out for them. But this isn't really about that. What's going on, Sexy C? I see you in there. What's going on? Happy Monday to you too. The owner of the Redskins, JR, and I'm gonna come to you on this one first because we know that this is your team. Dan Snyder is the owner of the Washington Redskins, who recently came out and said that he will not be changing the name of the Redskins at all. Now, the reason why I bring this up is there's been a lot of talk in recent months to the possibility that the name may be changed because of the fact that the Native American community finds the name Redskin offensive to them. And Daniel Snyder says, quote, "I respect the opinions of those who disagree. I want them to know that I do hear them and I will continue to listen and learn, but I cannot ignore our 81-year history or the strong feelings of most of our fans as well as Native Americans throughout the country. After 81 years, the team name Redskin continues to hold memories and meaning of where we came from, who we are, and who we want to be in the years to come." and this is the owner, Daniel Snyder. So, there's more to this article. I'm getting it from nationtime.com. We can talk about what's in the article. I'd much prefer to get it in from the crew.
Right.
So I'm going to come to you first as a Redskins fan. I'll simply start off by asking you a yes or no question. I want you to answer yes or no, and then I want you to explain to me why you feel that way. The question is, would you like to see the team change the name from Redskins to something else, yes or no? And
No.
why? And why?
Why? That's the fan in me speaking. I that's what I grew up with. Love the Redskins name. Grandmother's Indian. I really don't have that much of a feeling toward it any other way, as far as it being a negative or positive thing. You get conflicting. You always get these conflicting reports in the media. It wasn't initially used as a derogatory term, but now it is, and it's offensive. But I do understand where the people who disagree with the name are coming from. Nobody wants their people to be used for, monetary gain, especially in a negative light. I will say too, though, looking at the Cleveland Indians mascot, the little happy face red Indian, like if you going with one, like, address them all.
Right.
But on the other hand, with respect to Dan Snyder, say he'll never change his name. Never say never, because that's almost surely you're going to change it. And they used to be named the Braves anyway. Why not just go back to the Braves or the Warriors or something like that, and just make it a whole big money thing. Change all the uniforms up too. There's lots of things that he could do with it, but I understand both sides of the situation.
Sincere, I'm not sure your NFL affiliation. What's your
Dallas Cowboys.
You're a Cowboys fan, okay?
Absolutely, all day.
You're a Cowboys
That
fan,
hurt.
okay? All right, fair enough. We got Cowboys fans in the crew. Colin Banks is a Cowboy. Jay Grizzly,
Shout out.
and Tony and S.Y. they all Steelers. I'm the only Giant in the crew, but it is what it is. But what's your thoughts on the subject, man?
As far as them changing the name, I don't really think it's a big deal to me. Like you said before, it's been that name for years and years and years. So, to me, it's no big deal. If they feel that certain kind of way, I think in previous years there should have been a larger cry about it to get that situation changed. If they were going to change, the Warriors sound like a good name to me. If they're gonna do it, but like I said, if you're gonna do that, you need to change everything across the board instead of just harping on the name of that one team.
What you think, S.Y.?
I'll say no. I don't really care. I don't see the big deal in it. I understand, the concerns for the Native Americans, but, it's 81 years old, the name, you guys say, right?
81 years, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the name. Leave it alone. I'm not really being offensive to them, but, hey.
I look at it like this. If you have a large portion of people who are offended, then it's something that at minimum needs to be considered. I think it's obnoxiously arrogant to say I'll never change the name when you've got, a large portion of people who are offended by it, especially when you consider the history of this country and the history of the people who were here first and the history of the people who came here and basically stole the land. We celebrating Columbus Day today, which, I guess I just tipped my hand on what my rant is going to be about tonight, because I'll have some more about this subject later on. But the point that I'm making is there's certain communities that we have in this country that they open up their mouth and people will listen and they get generally what they want. The people in the Jewish community open up their mouth, they get what they want. The people in the homosexual community open up their mouth, they get what they want. People in the African American community, which I hate that phrase, black people, we don't come together enough for anybody to respect us as a whole, which is the reason why we don't get shit. And then when you look at the Native American community, they get even less than we get. You know what I'm saying? And so, personally, I'm not offended by Redskins. But then if the team was known as, the the Colorado Coons, I might feel some kind of way about that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
With black uniforms.
Yeah, with black
All black on black.
with pictures of buckwheat on the back of it. You know what I'm saying? I might feel some kind of way about that. Whereas someone in a different community might say, "Oh, Marcus, you tripping? It's just a name." So I don't think that it's appropriate for me, and I'm not denigrating anybody's opinion. For me, it's not appropriate for me to say it's just a name simply because I don't understand personally what that history must feel like. As a black person in this country, I know exactly what it feels like to get followed around the store and pulled over behind nonsense and expected to be not quite as smart. Somebody hear me on the phone and say, "Oh, damn, I thought you was a white dude." Like I know what that feels like.
Yes.
I know what all that feels like. But as far as what the people in the Native American community would feel like, with the feathers and stuff, apparently that is like one of the most disrespectful things that you can do is, assume that they rocking feathers. See, I didn't know that. I learned that from someone that's in that community. If you look at the Redskins, it's a big ass feather in the hat. So, but then again, I do kind of agree with what you said, JR, when you alluded to the fact that if you change it for one, then you set the precedent that the Atlanta Braves, the Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks, and those are just, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, no doubt.
Those are all the names that just came off the top of my head, and I know for a fact that there's more. And to me, it just goes to show you the level of disrespect that the founders of this country had, that they felt that it was so cool to be disrespectful to a certain section of the people in this country that it came about where you're naming sports teams after them. Like, think about it. Do you have any other community that gets, like you get a Celtic, that's supposed to be cool. The Irishman, the Fighting Irish, stuff like that. That's cool to those communities. But, Redskin, apparently that's a slur. So the fact that every single time we say Redskin, like every time we say it, we're being disrespectful every time we say it. And so I personally want to be mindful of that, and whether we actually end up seeing a change. Daniel Snyder says no. I agree with you, JR. Never say never. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. That's why I want you on this one first as a mom. We saw what happened this week with Adrian Peterson and the fact that he lost his son to, I'll use the phrase child abuse, domestic violence against a child. I mean, whatever it is you want to say. There was some rumor that he didn't know his child. He had just met his child on the child's deathbed. Who knows if that's true or not? I don't know that it matters. But the result of the situation is you've got the child's mother, whose live-in boyfriend is the alleged perpetrator of the child's abuse and subsequent death. And the fact that we're talking about it is because Adrian Peterson is the NFL's most valuable player. We know who he is. We have a face, a prominent national face to put on it. So that gives it, credence, and it makes it a talking point for talk show hosts and, for people like us. With that set up, I mean, I don't know if you've heard the story, but why don't you tell us what your thoughts are?
I did hear about it over the weekend, and I felt so sad for him. I don't, like you said, it doesn't really matter when he met his son or whatever, but the first thing I wanted to do was, attack the mother for not protecting her child. If the allegations are true, that's your baby. Why would you let someone beat your baby or abuse your baby? I don't know. I just feel so bad for him. I feel so bad for him.
Real quick, we're getting a hit in social media from Steven Sykes, Mr. LP. He is the host of Enliven Radio, heard right here in the den. He likes to call it the Bat Cave. It's the den, man. Legacy Internet Radio. Steven says that he understands that Snyder may not try to be offensive, but refusing to change, you're being offensive. If we call, he's alluding to the analogy I made about black folks having a team named after them, and you would be upset. He's basically saying his grandmother is upset, and why must we accept them dumping on us? I'm kind of paraphrasing because he says a whole lot here, but the gist of it is, if Snyder sees that people are offended, then he needs to act on it. So that's Steven's comment. Going back to Adrian Peterson, JR, what's your thoughts, bro?
Man, I couldn't imagine having someone beat a child to death that belonged to me. Be that a niece, nephew, but especially your own child, to have someone allegedly, beat them to the point where they lose their life, and they're only 2 years old. 2 years old. Like what? I'm thinking. I have a 3-year-old nephew, and I couldn't imagine him doing something where I would beat him to the point of death. Like at that age, why are you beating on him? Like you can yell at a child that age, and they will cry as if you beat them to death.
Right.
So why are you even putting your hands?
You know,
on
the
a child
crazy
like
part
that?
about it is you hear stories like this far too often, where you hear of parents just basically snapping, getting frustrated, and not just parents, but just people in charge of taking care of the child, sincere, where they snap and they beat the child up for something that is childlike. The child pooped the pants, or the child won't stop crying, or the child is just whining, and so you as the adult snap and you go and you hurt the child. I'd be interested, not that it matters, but I'm always fascinated to know what were you thinking at that moment. Like, why the hell did you beat this child up? Right. And it don't matter. Like, no funeral, just a big ass hole to drop their ass in is what they get if I'm in charge. But, it is what it is. Actually, you know what would even be better? Why don't we just put him in Gen Pop? How about that? Ain't no half step. Sincere, what's your thoughts, bro?
Well, of course, it greatly saddened me to even hear that situation that occurred. And I know working with kids every day, they're a handful, and they can be a handful, but I don't see any excuse or reason why somebody would even put their hands on a child that age. And, for Adrian, I'm thinking, if I'm in his shoes, what is preventing me from getting to this guy? I mean, whether it's paying somebody to take care of that, or me just being there and knowing that this guy just did this. And, if he was crazy, he had some kind of mental situation, well, the baby mama was with him, and he already had some issues previously with that kind of situation.
With her? He was beating up her.
Right. So if he put his hands on her, what makes him think he ain't gonna put his hands on the baby? So, I mean, that's crazy. And it should have even been allowed to go down.
That's why you look like you had to jump in there.
No, I was disagreeing. He had to have issues before you had to see it. Why would you leave your baby unattended? Why would you not call the police the first time it happened? Get away the first time it happened? Anything. I don't know what, it's got to be every ounce of strength in him not to get to this guy and get to the mother.
Yeah.
Because you're responsible for the child.
And I'm hearing a lot of talk of people talking about, well, he just met the child and all this kind of stuff. That's nonsense. It's white noise. It ain't got nothing to do with the story, because the four of us in this room either have children, work with children, or have children around us. And I can't speak for y'all, but I was deeply affected when I heard the story. To the point where it really, really hurt me, because it's a 2-year-old baby, and anybody that knows me knows how I feel about children. And so, even if this dude just met this kid, or even if he just found out he had this kid, if we as people unconnected to this are feeling something, imagine somebody telling you, you know what, on a Thursday, you got a kid, but your kid that I'm just telling you about is probably going to be gone soon. Like, just think about that, even in that sense, if you want to take the sensationalized view of this, if you want to make him out to be some kind of man who are out there getting girls and getting them pregnant, all that kind of, even if you looked at it from that perspective, which I'm not doing, because I think that that's unfair, and I think that's obviously too soon. But I'm bringing that up because it is out there. So I think that we would be irresponsible if we didn't look at this from every single angle.
Matter.
It absolutely doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus said. All right. Sad story, but I want to move on to more of a, not so much not sad, but just different. This one right here, Sincere, I want you in on this one first. I'm getting this from CNN, and this story is it's about a week or two old. It just didn't make the cut last week That's why we didn't talk about it, and I'm happy that I got you here. I can get your opinion on this because I know you work with children. This one is about the 9-year-old kid who stowed away on an airplane from Minneapolis to Las Vegas. Now, I don't know if you've heard the story, but this is a 9-year-old boy who sneaked onto a plane to Vegas, back to his hometown, Minneapolis. They wouldn't give the specifics. Now, let me just make sure he went to Vegas from Minneapolis. Crew members aboard a Delta flight on October 3rd became suspicious of the child passenger when they found that he had no ticket or boarding pass. He was placed in a foster home as authorities began to investigate. The TSA has said the boy went through security in Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, and although it is not explained how he got through without a boarding pass, they have video that shows that he chatted with an agent. When he reached the gate and moved toward the plane, the agent became distracted, and that's when he went down the ramp and ended up on the actual plane. So, Sensei, I'm going to come to you on this one first. I'm getting that from CNN. What is your thought, my brother?
I'm just like, I mean, I know kids are manipulative, and they can manipulate themselves in different situations, but I had a problem when I'm trying to board the plane. They want to, you taking all your clothes off. They checking everything. They constantly want to know if you have, your boarding pass, if you have this, if you have that. So then for a 9-year-old kid to be able to get in there and get through there, I'm like, yo, what was y'all doing?
Yeah.
I can't get that distracted. If I got a 9-year-old, I'm going to want to keep him closer to me because he doesn't have a parent or guardian or anybody by him. So how in the world did he even get that close? I mean, that should have been, they could have stopped that. The TSA agent should have stopped that before he even got that far.
Yeah.
My first thought, like when it's early in the morning when I'm finding this out. I barely got the eye boogers out, but like I'm like, so what are they paying these people for? Like, we're supposed to be protecting this country from all sorts of aerial terrorism, and you can't stop a 9-year-old. And how did the 9-year-old get to the airport anyway? Like, did he walk? Did he take a taxi? Like, cause I didn't see too much about it.
That's a good question. I didn't even think about that.
How did he even get there?
I didn't even think about that.
Can you just imagine from where we are now to the airport? A 9-year-old gets from here to the airport.
Yeah, from where we sit here in Richmond, Virginia, it is probably about a 10 to 12 minute drive to the airport. So yeah, so how did he get there?
Even if you got to cross the interstate, you got to go down them long, little, windy roads it take just to get into the terminal, and like, so what? How do you?
You know what's crazy about that? That's why you got 2 used to be 9-year-olds. I got one that used to be 9 years old last year, and she's charming. But I don't think she could charm her way onto an airplane.
No, they can't get on a plane. And I swear, it's not in the story, but it's got to be something going on prior to this kid getting there.
Yeah.
Somebody had to drop this kid off there.
Yeah.
Where's mommy? Where's daddy? Who had this kid?
I heard a rumor, and I don't know how true it is, but I heard that the kid had stolen a car before. He's got behavioral problems. This kid's got issues. That predates him doing this. So this is what his father told the local affiliate.
Is he really 9?
Well,
is he like Babyface Nelson?
Hey, that sounds like a kid I would be dealing with at school right now.
On?
Well, the Minneapolis Star Tribune reported that Janine Moore, who's the area director at the Hennepin County Human Services and Public Health Department, wrote in an email to the agency administrators and county board members of the boy's, quote, pattern of behavior, which has included hanging out in Bloomington, Minnesota water park, and blending in with a large family to slip through without paying. So this kid he's a con man. The boy's father told the local TV station that his wife reported their son missing a day after they last saw him, leaving the house to take out the trash. And they say, quote, "We're not bad parents. We didn't think nothing of it. We thought he was at a friend's house." The father said he never expected his son would take the light rail. Here we go. I'm finding it now. Never thought that his son would take the light rail from their North Minneapolis neighborhood to the airport and sneak onto the airplane. "I don't understand," he said. "You've got so many security checks." Oh, he's blaming the airport now. "You got so many security checks at the airport. How can you let a 9-year-old sneak past security, get on a plane without anyone stopping him, questioning him, or anything?" That, even as the dad of the kid who got out the damn house, that's a fair point. Now, first of all, the kid got past you and got on the light rail from taking out the trash and made it to airport. So your hands are not clean, Dad. But Sincere made a good point, which is essentially, as we dig more into this, as we research it, as we discuss it, Sincere, I want you back in here. Dad's got a good point. What you think, man?
Man, I'm like this. They said 20. I know it's 24 hours usually before they will put an Amber Alert out. But normally, if you let somebody know that a kid is missing 12 hours, the local authorities are going to start putting something in motion. And for him to say the day after that, and he thought that he was at a friend's house at 9 years old, I mean, how do you let a 9-year-old out to go to a friend's house and you didn't already know that he was at a friend's house?
Why didn't you take the 9-year-old to the friend's house if that's where he was going?
Call the friend's house. Is he there? How can the 9-year-old slip past you, Daddy? I need to slap him with the stupid stick. Don't blame it on anybody else, because you all have given up on the 9-year-old and let the little monster run rampant all over the freaking street, and y'all don't care. Now let's blame it on the TSA.
But how do you get past the point? You know, the point where you going, and it's the final part where you about to board the airplane, and you got to show your ticket. Like, they ain't letting nobody pass that thing. Nobody. Like, they want to see it.
Well, I mean, if you really,
and some you got to scan it.
Yeah, I mean, but see, the thing is, the whole point of it is the article alludes to the fact that the kid waited for that person to get distracted and slip through. See, now, oftentimes people don't find children to be, they don't worry about it. You know what I mean? They don't find them to be threatening. So, you can take your eyes off them for a minute. Now, I get where you were going, Sincere, because you're thinking of it, in a protective way. Like, you got this kid standing here, like, dude, like, where's your guardian? Where's your parent? That's how you're thinking of it. That's how SY's thinking. I see you nodding and saying with you, JR. And that's how I think about it. But this person, and I'm not defending them. I'm playing the devil's advocate. I'm not defending them. But this person has got a million different things going on at that one moment. And it sometimes only takes, a quick head turn and a kid is past you. Now, a grown person, maybe not so much, because you're more trained to look for a grown person. Maybe they thought that kid was trailing that last grown person that just went down the ramp. I'm not making excuses.
Yeah, because, sometimes like when I would take my kids on the airplane, they were going in. I have all of our tickets.
Right.
So maybe they're letting the kid go, but I mean.
Now, I know this is irrelevant to the subject, but what color was the kid? Does it say?
It's black.
It doesn't.
I saw it, like, from what I could tell when I saw, like, CNN, like, they had, of course they had his face, like, blocked off or whatever, but looking at his hands, it looked like a brother.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know.
And his voice sounded like his voice wasn't disguised or anything. It sounded like a brother too.
Little
hands look like a brother. So
ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J. Now,
wow.
I want to, Sincere, I want you in on this one first as well. This one is a sad story, so let's kind of get our sad faces on. I'm getting this from the Huffington Post Black Voices page. I'll just read the byline and then I'll get into the story. Dad suggests LaPortia Massey's death may have been a result of Philadelphia's school budget cuts. Now, what the hell does that mean? Basically, Daniel Birch is saying that his 12-year-old daughter, LaPortia Massey, died from asthma complications on September 25th. He's telling this to the local television affiliate. Massey was a sixth grader at Bryant Elementary School. She began to feel sick early in the day. She did not have the option of visiting a school nurse. As a result of district budget cuts, the school can only afford to have a nurse Thursdays and Fridays. It was a Wednesday. Had a school nurse been available, Birch says, he or she would have recognized the seriousness of the situation and made sure that young Miss Massey got immediate help. Instead, after spending the day at school, Massey died at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia that night. Sincere, I want you in on this one first. I'm having a hard time with this one. What's your thoughts, man?
A couple points to speak on with that. I know in the school system, I know for sure the budget cut situation is serious, because I can remember when I was working at Oak Grove the first time, the nurse was there from 9 in the morning to 12 noon, and she left to go to the Bell Mead side of the school to a whole nother building, and any of the kids who had problems could not see a nurse from 12 to it was time to go. So we had, you had all kinds of things that could have happened in that situation. To speak about the asthma thing, all of the teachers or her teachers should have been alerted to that situation. I know at our school, if a kid has allergies, all of the teachers, the people who work in the cafeteria, all of them know that this particular person has such X, Y, and Z. So that situation there shouldn't even have occurred. I mean, there should have been something.
Somebody should have. You're right with that, and they should have immediately notified her parents so they can take her to the doctor. She spent the whole entire day, which means nobody paid attention
Suffering.
to her.
Yeah.
Nobody paid attention.
We're getting a couple of hits on social media. Ben says that he thinks the father's point makes sense. Either they should have mandatory for every teacher to have first aid certified or some sort of special training or common childhood maladies.
You mean they're not?
Apparently not.
No.
Probably not.
Apparently not.
A lot of schools don't do that.
We're also getting a hit. Lathrell is asking that very question. Tiffany is saying most teachers are already CPR first aid certified, but Tiffany knows firsthand about the shortage in her building. Their school nurse is shared with 2 other schools. If we see her twice a week, that's a lot. If we have an emergency, we call her cell. But that is not always safe proof. Sometimes she is in a meeting with department heads and can't come when we need her. It sucks big time. Thankfully, we all work together as a team in our building, and if something happens, we know what to do. Let me just say this, JR, before you comment. I did a story a few months ago about the school system shutting down many schools, laying off many workers. If you were here, if you remember those shows, that school system was Philadelphia. You want to know why they shut down all the schools and they laid off all those teachers? They took that money and they went and they built a prison. And so I'm asking the question now, would young Miss Massey be alive if they didn't lay off all of those people to build those prisons? Because we also know that they're testing kids in the 3rd and the 4th grade to see how messed up they're going to be when they're in high school, and that is what they use to determine how many prison beds that they're going to need. So that tells me that they shut down these schools to build this prison right now, 2011, 12, and 13. That means in about the year 2000, they was testing them kids in them days to see how many prison beds that they were going to need now. And
That's
young
really
Miss
too
Massey
bad.
loses her life because of something like that, JR. It's just, you know, it really chaps me when I hear this.
That's shocking. I hadn't heard the story, but this is my problem with government run things, and you know, particularly when it comes to people's health. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a big fan of the Affordable Health Care Act for a number of reasons, but my main reason is because the government just really doesn't have a great track record when it comes to taking care of the things that they should take care of. Our veterans being a prime thing, the people who fight for you, the people who die for you, and they do so proudly. Like these people, you know, I know a lot of them personally. I got, you know, one of my best friends. He's over in Korea at the moment, but I mean, he's been to Afghanistan. He's been to Iraq several times, and he does it proudly. And they can't take care of these veterans. And then we see on a local level, these schools aren't taking care of our children either. That's with what we pay in taxes. We pay that so our kids can have a good education. And they take those taxes from us regardless, and they're doing what they want to do with it. Just like this government shutdown, they are doing what they want to with our money. And a lot of times these people who pay taxes work for the government, so they still have to go to work and are not being paid. So when they get those checks later on, those checks have a bigger chunk of money taken out because they're getting it all back paid, and the more you make, the more they take. So they're going to take it at one time. People need to like wake up and like look and focus on the fact that they're not taking care of your children, and it's only going to get worse. If they would rather build prisons than educate your children, then that should tell you what they want for your children in the future.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, I got you. I understand where you're coming from.
And it's not
Part
the
of me-
down on affordable health care.
No, I mean, a large part of me agrees with you. But see, here's the thing with it: they politicize everything. The Affordable Care Act gets the common name Obamacare, but we know that 47% of the people are against Obamacare. Well, guess what? 47% of the people voted for Mitt Romney. You think that's a coincidence? You think that the way that the Affordable Care Act is being disseminated to the public is consistent with the way it is? The Affordable Care Act has about 32% of people that don't want it. It's the same damn thing, people. I mean, really, it's the same thing. It is the same thing. So why is there, anywhere, depending on what poll you look at, anywhere between 10 and 15 points difference? Why? Because the people that are driving the message are the people who are the ones that are against it. Right. And so when we're talking about this government shutdown, and you're talking about how people are, blaming the president for it, and his hands ain't clean, but they're not as dirty as you want to make it out to be. Because the reality is, if the people didn't want it, then they wouldn't have voted for Barack Obama. They would not have done that, because 47% didn't want it then, and 53% did. You know what I mean? It got through the House and the Senate. Yeah, it got through the president, who then signed it. And then when they appealed, they wanted to go against it. It got through the freaking Supreme Court. People, let it go. It's over. It's over.
My biggest issue with regards to the opponents of the Affordable Health Care Act is that what they don't realize is, like myself, I don't necessarily want it, but then again, I don't necessarily have a need for it. But at the same time, a lot of people do. As Marcus said, 53% of the people want it. Now, to me, the other side isn't actually offering anything to the American people. They need to offer something better to those 53% of those people. Right now, all they're saying is what they want to take from this act. And instead of saying, hey, look, we got something better for you. And sadly, the same people who are doing this more often than not are not offering anything to the people. They're just saying what they don't want, or what they don't want in it, or what they can't have in it, or what the American people want. And they're cherry picking stories to validate
people
their point.
Generally like the Affordable Care Act and are supporting the Affordable Care Act. As I stated before, it's the people that are against it that are driving the argument. And here's what frustrates me, right? You can say that, I got some issues with some of it, and that's fair, because even I, as someone that supports the president, I got a lot of issues with the dude. He annoys the shit out of me most of the time lately, but I still support him, right? But here's the thing that I can't necessarily rationalize: the fact that when you know that one of the biggest things in it is that if you had a pre-existing condition, don't matter no more. Like, you would think that in a country full of sick people and diabetics and cancer patients and just downright people who ain't taking care of themselves, you would think that one thing alone would be something that would, really, really put us over the top. And this whole business about small businesses, like, look, dude, if you ain't got 50 people in your company, it don't affect you anyway. You know what I mean? So don't give me this small businesses, it's going to kill small businesses. And here's my biggest thing about it, right? You can drive a 1996 Honda Civic and they gouge you for car insurance and you don't say shit. You just pay it, right? You just pay it. You just pay it and move on. And it ain't got nothing to do with your history, because we can go through your history. And I'm looking at you, Jab, but I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying in general. We can go through your history, Sincere, and see that you 58 years old and you never in your life had a car accident. Ain't never had no issues with your premiums. You paid it on time. You ain't never had a problem. But you pay that bill every single month. You don't bat an eye. You might complain to your family or your friends or the occasional claims adjuster when you see them on the street, but that's all you're going to do, right? But the Affordable Care Act, you got a problem with that. When you know, and the analogy I just gave you, the 58-year-old guy who's been driving for 41 years in most states, all that money is going towards paying for people who don't freaking have insurance. So now all of a sudden you got a problem with his health. Would you rather, would you rather we continue to run our hospitals, while people like you and people like you and people like you and people like me continue to pay for that stuff anyway. We paying for it anyway, and we also know that the more people that you have in these having these policies, the less it's going to cost. So you want to fight and you want to talk about how bad it is, but you're not telling me how it's bad. You're just telling me that it's bad. You know why? You know why you're telling me it's bad? Because it's called Obamacare. That's why it's bad.
And they didn't think of it first.
That's why it's bad. But they've been trying to get health care in this country since the Roosevelt administration. I mean, part of getting Social Security and Medicare and all of that kind of stuff, they was trying to get health care with all that. You know what I mean? Those things didn't work out. And by the way, they freaking hated Medicare and they freaking hated Social Security when we started doing it. They called it socialism. Guess what? Try taking their Social Security from them now. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus. We're gonna do one more story. And
that got him hot.
I get mad at this stuff, man, because these people, man, and I feel bad because we got Sincere for another few minutes, then we're gonna lose him. I hope he goes back and he listens because I got something that I'm gonna get to y'all in the second in the What the Hell segment. That's gonna blow your mind with how these people do. And if you're listening, then when you leave here, definitely make sure you check that out. All right, here's the last story I want to do. This one is funny as hell. That's why I want you in on this one first. I'm getting this from the 360experiment.com. A 10-year McDonald's employee gets arrested for confronting the CEO about struggles of raising her family on $8.25 an hour. Now, this is a picture of the sister right here. Yeah, y'all can see.
She got a rap.
You can see it now. This is the CEOs make millions and billions a year. Why can't they provide enough for their employees? This is what Nancy Salgado said. She had been employed by McDonald's Corporation for 10 years, never received a raise until they raised the minimum wage. So when McDonald's USA president Jeff Stratton was giving a speech at the Union League Club in Chicago, Salgado felt compelled to speak out for the sake of her children. It's really hard for me to feed my 2 kids and struggle every day, she shouted as Stratton was speaking. She continues, do you think it's fair that I have to be making $8.25 when I worked for McDonald's for 10 years? Without even addressing the heart of the issue presented by the hardworking mother, Stratton replied, I've been here 40 years. Like, I ain't going to even read no more, because there's more to it. I don't really think that it's, well, actually, you know what? I will get into some more. They were basically having an exchange, going back and forth. And he was talking about some of the stuff that she was saying is just simple. I'm paraphrasing because I want to move through it. At that point, she was approached and told that she was going to be arrested, basically, as they're having their exchange. They just told her, quote, they just told me, well, you're being under arrest because you just interrupted, you trespassed the property. You're just going to go to jail. And what I remember just telling them, well, so because I have to speak my mind, I have to tell the president the poverty wage I'm living in, that's just against the law. Just being able to speak up your mind and say, you know what, I can't survive on $8.25. It's just ridiculous that I'm going to get arrested. She didn't lose her job, but she lost a bunch of hours. That's kind of the end of the story for now. Wonder if it's going to go any further than that. But I got it set up appropriately. That's why. What's your thoughts?
Now, did you say he said he's been there for 40?
He been in. When she said I've been here 10 years and the only raises I got was when y'all raised minimum wage, his response was, well, I've been here 30 years.
You know what? I saw this on the news. I saw
that's cold-blooded, man.
Piece of it. I didn't see that response from him because I was like, good for her for standing up for her and her family and other people like her. But I didn't hear the loser's comment about him being there for 40 years. This is definitely not going to be the end of it. It's not going to be the end of it. She's going to keep talking. She's going to keep talking. They're going to A, give her a raise, or B, fire her. She's loyal. She's working. She stuck it out because I guess she has to feed her family. But come on.
That's crazy.
That I've been there for 40 years deserved a flying chair.
That was, like when they threw the shoe at George Bush that time
a flying
and
chair.
whatnot. I want to say peace to some people that we got listening to us. What's up, Joy? What's up, Sid? What up, bruh? What's up, Sexy C? That's Mom. What's up, Mom? And we got Priscilla listening to us in Jersey City, New Jersey. Appreciate the love we getting there in social media, as well as a few of the other folks that we read their comments. Steven Sykes is listening to us as well, Ben, as well as Tiffany. Sincere, what's your thoughts on the McDonald's lady?
When I first heard it, the first thing that ran through my mind was, is she still employed? Because them white folks do not play with the money, and they try to keep as much as they can keep. So if she's still employed, I think she's lucky. Even though they didn't have to arrest her and do that, they could have just escorted her out, being that she is a quote-unquote employee of the company. But I don't anticipate that she's going to be there too much longer. I think they're going to find a way to.
But you know what's crazy? I mean, there's precedent for them, arresting people and making a public spectacle when they feel that they're embarrassed.
Right.
Like the little girl, the little black girl, and I can't remember where this was or when this was, but the little black girl had a temper tantrum in school. I think she was in like the 1st or 2nd grade, and they put her in handcuffs and arrested her.
I remember that story. I don't know where it was from.
I can't remember where it was, and I'm sure if a simple Google search would solve that problem. But it's just crazy. JL, you got some thoughts on the McDonald's story?
People know I'm conspiracy man, so I'm just gonna say police state, police state, police state. You got these big corporations. What they doing now is when you speak up, they're arresting you. Okay. To go back to the tase me, bro. There's just a famous YouTube video. Don't tase me, bro. All he was doing was asking what's going on, trying to find out some information. Taken out.
They tase
Boom.
him. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. I want to give some love to my family that's giving me love. My cousin Toya is listening to us in Korea. We got listener in Korea right
International legacy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no half step with Marcus J. Live from the Dan Legacy Internet Radio. We getting some love from across the big water. So tell the big homie I said what up and kiss the girls from me. I appreciate it. Thanks for the love. Thank you everybody for hanging in there with that with us in that segment. We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we're going to have a missing child, and we'll also get a word from our sponsor. I also want to say peace to my man Sincere, who's going to be leaving us shortly. SY is going to lead us in a wealthy segment, so we're going to get some good tips from her on that. Sincere, parting shots, my brother.
I just want to say I was glad that I did show up and came over. I'm definitely gonna come back through. I had an idea. Of course, it's not that big of an issue, but I just want to take the opportunity to get to everybody's show just to be or to feel the atmosphere, because we don't get to see each other all the time, and it's almost like we do our show. Everybody does their own thing, but I would definitely like to get in there and check out Jay's show, and just so I can see what else is popping on the other side.
It's nice up in here.
Yeah, I feel the warmth already.
You got it. We getting some love from my sister Melissa Payne's listening to us as well. What's going on, sis? Thank you so much for the love from you as well. Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J with you and the listeners. We be right back. We appreciate it, love. We got some music and a word from our sponsor. Be back in a minute.